dear to us, very beautiful, very important things that we have to us. And they can be taken from us at any time. But the most valuable thing that can never be taken from you is the knowledge you gain by educating yourself. And this can be done maybe through reading. But unfortunately, most people seem not to read. Actually, there's a saying that if you want to hide something from an African, just put it in writing. How is it in your side? How are you taking it? Do you read? Or you are also among these other people, they say, maybe they don't read. It is said that the reading culture in Uganda, it's not at its peak. I have an author here, a writer, to share with us how our situation is regarding the reading culture. So tonight we want to see how we can nurture the reading and the writing culture in Uganda. I have the honor to introduce Mr. Julius Babyetsiza. You're welcome, Julius.
I'm glad. Thank you.
Yeah, and Julius is the Executive Director, Institute of Knowledge-Driven Economy Governance, and he is also a writer. Julius, you're welcome once again.
Thank you.
When we talk of the reading culture in Uganda, reading and writing culture, by the way, how is it? How is our situation here in Uganda?
Yes, good evening, viewers. Thank you, Maureen. Reading culture is such to the great low depths that something need to be done. And I'm one of the people who have met this. In my local language, or my local people have a saying that you cannot ask something terrible happening from me, an elder. You ask it from a person who has been confronted by it. I happen to have published an exciting book, quite exciting. A number of people have read it, but unfortunately, a great number of people have read this book are outsiders. And I also happen to have published it outside. But it has been in the market, in the bookshops, and very few people have read it. And because of in meeting this that I've written such an exciting book, very few people have read it, I've gone on to carry out the research to find out what is it with the reading culture in Uganda.
So how is it? You've done the research.
Yes.
You've gone out. So how is it? How is our situation? How is the reading culture?
The situation, I pick it from Kanyihamba's latest book called The Blessings and Joy of Being Who You Are. Professor Kanyihamba published this book 2012. He launched it, that's when he launched it. And on page 394, I want Maureen to read this for me, this paragraph, and viewers can be able to understand this very first paragraph, to understand how low and terribly is the level of reading culture in Uganda.
So from this very paragraph,
yes,
that's where we're going to see the level, the situation, how Uganda is standing when it comes to reading culture.
Exactly.
This book is The Blessings and Joy of Being Who You Are by George Kanyihamba, Professor.
Yes.
Yeah, the paragraph he gives me is, unfortunately, Uganda, like many other countries, especially the so-called developing world, does not have a reading culture. That's Uganda. People who do not read, analyze, appreciate, and be guided by what is written or published are doomed in the present world of science, technology, and innovations. Millions of books, journals, periodicals, and newspapers on both current affairs, better methods of governance and development are available in Uganda or else. But very few citizens know of them, and even those who know hardly ever bother to read them, let alone have the curiosity to find out what is in them. The overwhelming majority of our people's beliefs or decision to be for or against the opinions of politicians, opinion makers, and are often themselves ignorant. The very few who struggle to find the time to read anything devote most of their time and energy to populist newspapers and stories published by the media generally. A nation which is characterized by those phenomena of illiteracy is doomed to be retarded in the modern world of technology and Science. That's the book. So how is our...
So it is that bad that people have not endeavored to read, that even writers have not endeavored to write. Because there is little incentive for people to write because there is hardly anyone to read. I was challenged when Professor Kanyihamba was launching that book, and what New Vision wrote featuring the launch. The heading of that book, of the launch of that book was, the launch took place on 27th July 2012, and the New Vision feature that appeared in the New Vision paper read, 900 monthly pension, not enough for Kanyihamba. From this, I draw quite many depths and experiences and research. When we just later see Mandela, he left a huge estate. I was delighted to learn that the greatest part of that estate, Mandela didn't get it from the office he occupied as a president just for 5 years, but it came from writing books.
So from the research you made,
yes,
actually the research you made,
yes.
So if we have to put it in the percentage maybe, how is our percentage? How is the Ugandan percentage regarding the reading culture?
Just as Kanyihamba says, hardly nobody reads. Hardly anybody reads. I happen to have been one of the people who got an opportunity to have studied outside. I studied in Ukraine, and when I used to be in metros, that is in Ukraine and in the former Soviet Union, the largest means of transport and underground trains, they are called metros. You'd see there are people move very fast. It will take you, say, maybe 15 minutes to move from Moyogorere to Natete. But there is nobody who's seated just only watching and waiting to arrive. You see, people are reading books, are reading newspapers, are reading. If today you go out and see, even in our jam situation, a person traveling from Gayaza to here in town is going to cost that person even 1.5 hours, even 2. A person is just seated and none is reading.
So what do you think, what is the cause of all this? Why aren't we reading?
Just people have not been meant to understand the value a person gets from reading. Even people who have finished universities and colleges and institutions of learning, they think that reading stops the time you finish.
Yeah, because you read the book, you understand, they set the questions, you do answer, pass, and that's it.
Now, what most people don't know is that the university and the institutions of learning, especially let's talk of professional institutions of learning, they just only merely guide you. The greatest cause of unemployment we have around is because we've been narrowly trained. A person is trained as an accountant and he works 10 years to be an accountant. Myself, I trained as a quantitative economist. I've worked as an economic in that area. In very few instances when I've been working as a research assistant or as a researcher, but most times I've worked as an IT personnel. I'm a writer. So that broad thinking, that broad knowledge can only be acquired from extensive reading, which you're not going to get from the university and the institutions of learning that you have completed, but the education that you get from extensive reading.
Extensive. What am I supposed? Because I still look at this very issue on what is really killing, what is demotivating the person maybe from reading. That's what I want to know.
When I carried research in that, I found that the majority of Ugandans spend the greatest part of their time fending for bread. A person in the office from 8 and returns from 8 in the morning and returns 8 p.m. in the evening. All the time occupied. People are left with no time to read. Even people working weekends. So people don't have time to read. But that is the working group. But when you go to look at even the youth, people have finished institutions, are even trotting the streets for jobs. They are just not reading. So this is something which is forgotten. As you started by saying that there are values that empower us to learn, to move on, to develop. Among them, reading, writing. You said what else?
Speaking and listening.
Now, people have not been made to understand that those values are there. We need to develop them. So it is just a field that has not been tended to.
Julius, you talked of maybe the working class being busy and they don't have time. That means reading, maybe one can take it to be part of the luxury. And I don't have the time maybe for luxury. So
now it's not about luxury. No, it's not about luxury. If you go out in, I will not say that developing countries. They say that if you go out in a family which is an elite society, if it is an average society where they learn people, one of the thing that we should do there is to do with a library. Can be a small compartment. If you go, people have been going in people's offices, especially lawyers, you find they have a whole compartment of books. Those books have to be read. In other words, just as somebody have to find time to go to work, you find time to go to bathe, you find time to go to the market to buy supplies to feed at home. Likewise, people need to
spare time
to devote it to reading, which people have not done and have not been have not been taught, have not been educated that this is a need.
Now, who is to do that sensitization?
Now,
maybe?
Who is naturally, we have left it to nature. There's things that we leave to nature, and nature will not take care of.
Because you'll find when you ask one who tells you among his or her hobbies is reading, then the other one will tell you, no, it's not my hobby. Now,
this is shouldn't be a hobby. I've been one person who have been much of the time educated in IT, and I've been training these CITs, these office applications. Many people have brought me children, say, of people finished P7, even in middle class of primary school, even in secondary school. People say, is this person eligible to be taught computer? I've always replied that IT today is like how everybody converges on a table to eat when we come to eat. There's no that this is a younger should not come to the table, this is the old. Likewise, we have to spare time for reading. It's not about luxury, it's not my hobby. We have to find time to read. Else we're going to be retarded, as Professor Kanyamba has put it in his.
Julius, when you talk of, actually you said some people when they stop, maybe they complete school, tertiary institutions and colleges they stop there. But haven't they been reading? Isn't that reading as well?
Now, reading, people have stopped it in the universities and colleges and institutions of learning. Even school leavers who have finished the O-level and A-level. That's why they have stopped reading. And even when they are there, people are not reading. I challenge readers of this book of mine, Destined to Triumph, that I've published and I'm known with as a very exciting book. I cite how, when I was young, I read very many books, almost all books of Chinyankore. I happen to be a Mnyankore and I grew up in Ushenyi, and I share about how I read many books, including almost all books of Chinyankore.
Including the Bible as well?
Including the Bible. In fact, this book, that's why it is called Hand of God. There's quite many quotations from the Bible. I want to find this whatever. I listed, I may not easily find it, but I listed as having...
You're the author of the book. I believe you have everything.
Yes, I have them in the head. I listed in this book, have I read the books, very exciting books of Chinyankore, including Abagenda Baleba, Rwachekolire Bano, Rukundo Nkomwonyo, Ishekatabazi. Those are very exciting books. The author of those books is a renowned writer called Benedict Mbanjis. In fact, Makere happens to be honoring that man, because every year there is a day they honor that man to remember him as one of the people who have uplifted the writing of this country to the levels of Okoti Piteks and the rest.
Okay.
But now when we look back and we give a flashback to the times of Okoti Pitek died with that very gift, and nobody has gone on to develop it. Benedict Mbanjis likewise has died and has not gone on, we have not gone on to enterprise his enterprise that he started. So it's a society which is at the good pass down to the death. Yes. Okay. Retardation. Yes.
So writing this very book, it was after the book is Destined to Triumph. The Hand of God in the Life Twists and Turns of Julius Babyetsiza.
Yes.
That is his book. So reading the rest, the ones you talked of, the other versions and all that, that's what drove you to writing the Destined to Triumph?
Yes, it is one of those things that gave me a passion. Because this book is about my life account, what I've seen. As I've just shared earlier, I happen to have been one of the people who got a chance to study outside on a government scholarship in the former Soviet Union and in Ukraine. When I looked back and I said, what did I gain from me getting a scholarship to go out? How many people have got a chance to go out? How many people have ever traveled in a plane? So I wanted to write an account so that even a person who has never had a chance to go outside and board a plane and have a feel of what it means. In fact, I have a chapter. One of the chapters which I have here is a chapter called "My Journey to Soviet Union." Sure. I share how we started from President Towers. I went through the Ministry of Education scholarship, through the Ministry of Education. I went at Entebbe, how we boarded, how when you fly from Entebbe, what beauty you see the whole of Lake Victoria.
So you shared it.
I shared very vividly. Like, in other words, a person who has never been in a plane, you sit with me in a plane and you see.
Does that mean when I read that very chapter, I'll also see myself in the plane?
Sure.
Wow.
In fact, I'm sharing with us so that very few Ghanaians will. Yes.
Julius, so
yes.
when you talked of maybe reading some versions that you've read from the Western Uganda,
yes.
Actually you said they were interesting.
Very, very
so
interesting.
Could it be maybe the reason we don't read is what is on market? It's not interesting at all. Can you rule that out?
No, that is not the case. Just people have not been sensitized. It is just like today, you find parents or a house or a family selling bananas to go and buy these manufactured drinks, Coke. Why I'm bringing that analog is that people have taken on other things that they think they're important, but they are not important. We say we don't have time for reading, but in actual fact, we don't have to find time, but we have to create time for reading. Just as we have to find time to go for playing football, we have to find time to go for bathing, as I said. Schedule so that at least 5 minutes every day you browse through a book, even 30 minutes on minimum, actually.
Whether interesting or not interesting?
Not interesting, but there is nothing. It's because we are not being encouraged to read. There is no way you can say it is not interesting. Many people think reading is about literature. Say,
most people say, I didn't do literature, so I don't know any of them.
Now, for instance, I would want that we have now this massive unemployment of graduates, school leavers, and everybody is encouraging, go out and create your own jobs. I would want a situation where I've decided to go and do piggery. I go in the book out shops, stores, I pick a book about piggery and follow it by letter and be able to do piggery activity.
Now, Julius, you bring me to this very point. You want to do piggery, but there is no book.
Yes, people.
So has the reading culture, our failed to read, has it contributed maybe also to the writing culture?
Exactly, that's what I've said. This is saying to what started first. This is the chick or the egg. You get it? Huh? Poor reading culture has demotivated writers. But also people have not written because there are no readers. And some people are saying who have not read because there are no exciting books. But those who have that saying, because they have not gone out to find out. There are many good books in stores. It's because we have not gone out to look for them. And if we are reading and people know that they are reading, writers would go on faster to write. When I was studying...
But now, I read a book. You, the writer, how will you know that I've really read this very book?
Oh.
And you're supposed to keep on writing, bring this version, the other one, and...
Yes, people don't... That's exactly it.
Because I will not register anywhere that I've read this very book.
Yes, but by the time you're going to read the book, you're going to acquire it. And if you're going to acquire it, you're going to go in bookstores. Those bookstores, they are selling the books which the writer has written. So in other words, every time you go out in the bookstores and buy a book, you read it, and you share it out Many people get interested, say, oh, I read this book, how exciting it is. Another person will be encouraged. That's why people are going to go into stores and also buy books.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I started by saying that Mandela happened to be one of the people who left behind a great fortune. But one of the, when I was reading, I found that the greatest portion of that fortune was created through the books he authored. Mandela is one of the people, Africans, who have authored many books.
Wow.
Yes. And when I say professor, that's when I started again talking about Professor Kanyamba. Professor Kanyamba, the New Vision, should not have said that the man is grumbling because 900,000 shillings is not enough for his pension. Kanyamba has so far authored 13 books. He should be earning a great amount of money from.
We'll take it from there.
Yes.
Let's first go for a short break, and when we return, we'll definitely see you are not reading maybe because you are not sensitized. And who would have done actually? Who is supposed to do that sensitization for you to read? And then we have this era of maybe the internet. Maybe people read from the internet. We'll get there. Let's first go for a short break. Please don't go away.
UBC yamawe empika hona chaza kwata itaka omutisha hakacheka mbarara ebirabiri na bibiri byo kwa kashatu omwaka ogu omukitimbule chaza kwata itaka ahakumisha tuzonka VIP omutwaro omukazi leta baro omusheja leta omukazi empanga leta omusigazi omusigazi leta empangale omuguruso leta omukikuru omukikuru leta omugurusi kwena tubuganira mu kitimbule cha UBC empika hona birakuhicibwaho MTN Nairobi Rewards Pepsi na bandi benji ekitimbule cha UBC empika hona. Come on.
Transforming our nation, compassionate and integrity is our national vacation. Uganda first.
In this world, there is a nation called Uganda, found at the center of Eastern Central Africa. Many writers and philosophers have on different times described our leader as a brave man, combatant, liberator, gentle, civilized, statesman, compassionate, revolutionaries, philanthropist, the political patron, the leader with a bold mind, and an accommodating politician. This description only fits His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, the liberator, transforming our nation for national continuity. Oh, Uganda, our nation. Uganda, first.
All belong to Uganda, Uganda first.
Welcome back from that break, and in case you've just joined us, this is Education Forum program where we are discussing nurturing the reading and the writing culture here in Uganda, and we are saying it's not at its peak because of various reasons maybe, and people, some are not sensitized. They don't know that maybe they can read. Others are saying, I don't have time to read. But how can you schedule to make sure that this reading maybe becomes part of your maybe daily schedule or weekly schedule? I know they can even put it on a monthly one. How many books have you read out there? Viewer, you can be part of this very program, and the number to call is 0772 431 781. The number to call is right there on your screen. That is 0772 431 781. Or you can send us an SMS on 6868. Still, you can comment on via our Facebook page, that is Education Forum-UBC TV. We are nurturing the reading and writing culture. Caller. Hello, caller. Remember, in case you go through and you call and you're through, try to turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can really move on together without any interruption. The number is 0772 431 781. 0772 431 781, or send us an SMS on 6868. As I wait for you there to call, remember this is part of you. And if you've read a lot of books anyway, you can give a testimony, share with us. I've read this book. Hello, caller. Caller. Hello, good evening. Good evening, sir.
This is Muhumuza John.
Muhumuza, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ghana.
Sorry?
Thank you very much for bringing that yet so much.
Yes, Muhumuza.
And thank you so much for that program.
You're welcome.
Give me the telephone number because I'm getting so much interested in your book. I wanted to know where to get it from. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Muhumuza, but I didn't get well where you're calling from, but still.
I'm calling from Kabalagala.
From Kabalagala.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thanks for being part of Education Forum.
Thank you.
Yeah. The number, even you can be part of this show, the number to call is right there on your screen. That is 0772 431 781. And share with us. So anything to do with reading culture. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello, caller. Sorry, I lost you, but keep trying. You go through and then share with us anything regarding the reading culture, maybe you or your community or your home, or as you see our country at large. The number is 0772 431 781. Still, you can send us an SMS on 6868. Hello, caller. Hello. Caller. Sorry, I lost you. I'll keep waiting for you as you go through. Julius, yes. You talked of sensitization. And before we went for a break, there was this, I raised this issue of maybe the internet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's good you have brought it up. Many people have said.
Has it maybe also somehow, somewhere influenced our reading?
Yes, but definitely.
And writing as well?
Yes, it has influenced it, but I want to know, has it influenced it in the good,
mm-hmm.
or has it influenced
positively or negatively, yeah?
So far now in the developed countries, I would say the greater tendencies or more than around...
We have a caller online. Hello, caller.
Yes, good day.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm fine. Your name and where are you calling from?
This is Ivan of Palace.
Ivan, where are you calling from? Hello, Ivan. Sorry, Ivan, try again so that you can really share with us that very important thing that you wanted to share with us. The number is 0772 431 781. Hello. Caller. Hello, caller. Hello. Sorry, keep trying, still you will go through. Yeah, still.
Yes,
the
we're
internet
talking
issue?
about the internet. The internet has greatly influenced reading. Now, in the developed countries, there's this what they call Kindle version reading, especially on iPads. It has taken up a very, very big step, and it is taking up a large percentage of reading. And many people are looking at it as a dismay, especially people who are expecting to buy physical books. But this is not a dismay at all, because when you go and read a Kindle version of the book, you find that you get interested as you are moving along. Say that, let me have a physical copy of this book. So many people who have started reading about a book and started with a Kindle version. The Kindle version, that's a soft copy on your computer and on your telephones, internet, and what we call iPads. Get interested to go and acquire a physical copy.
But not all people can really afford the iPads.
At least even here, I'm talking in the light of the West. But when you come back home, the iPad, they have not even taken 1% of reading. So there's no way we can say the internet has taken up, it has dismayed people from reading.
Julius, there's this case.
Yes.
You'll find this person maybe is on his or her computer.
Yes.
And opens up, let me say, Twitter or Facebook, and is busy reading. Isn't that reading?
Now that kind of reading is what you started by when you were reading Professor Kanyamba's extract. What you call, most people, even those who are left even to read the newspapers, they merely only browse through. They don't read to understand. So that's exactly on the internet. Most people, that's what they do. Even when you go into universities, largest part of source of material for universities is the internet. But even the internet won't give you more than even 40% for you to come up with a good writing. Whether you are here in Uganda or you're outside. At the end of the day, you have to go out in the bookshops, you have to go out in the library and get a physical book and read it.
So that's why I even actually asked earlier.
Yes.
Could it be the structure of the books maybe we read in schools that make us actually now hate the reading because it is maybe question answer or, I don't know, the way they are?
That is part of course education curriculum, partly is to blame, which has tended to train a student to pass exams, not to understand, not to bring out a holistic person.
Okay.
But if you are talking of training a person to become a holistic graduate or trainee, that person is what I started saying, that the university or the institution of learning, a professional, only gives you a mere guidance, puts you on the path. I used to have a professor of philosophy in my university. He said that a university can only make you a student, but you become a professional in the field. And you're not going to become in the profession in the field by not reading.
So you have to read fast.
Yes, you have to read fast.
And then become a professional.
The university has never made
after
somebody.
being a professional, you also write.
Yeah, he also write. Yes,
now,
exactly.
Now, this brings me to this very important thing. So what is the importance now of reading, apart from being a professional? So what's the importance of reading there?
When I was coming, I prepared this scripture. I happen to be a lover of the Bible. The Bible, Luke 11:34 says, your eye is the lamp of your body. Your eyes, when they are good, your body is full of light. But when your eyes are bad, your body is full of darkness. So Ugandans, because we don't read, it's like what blind people only moving
in darkness.
In darkness. Even when we assume that we read at the university was only put you into a guiding path. This is what you're supposed to pass. Now to continue passing, move on. Please, you cannot move ahead without reading. And that's why we are where we are. The great unemployment, the darkness that people don't
So
know.
the level of the rate of unemployment, is it due to our habit of not reading?
Of not reading, because they think people, as I started saying, that the university only makes you a student. If you are going to be a professional, it is the field. And in the field, you're not going to get a lecturer. The lecturer is the book. That's why I started saying that I want to be encouraged to go out and do piggery. And I want to go out and pick a book. I want to go into stores, pick a book, and read it by letter and do piggery. So that if I'm to want to consult a veterinary, that is at the very extreme. One of the books I ever read is a book called Where There Is No Doctor. That's a book where if you read it, you have fever, you read it. You know, this is now malaria, and I'm supposed to take such and such drugs, and they even put there the dosage. So that you consult a doctor at a very critical stage.
Okay.
Yes. In other words, you can live without a doctor.
Now, and you say, that, isn't that book really promoting self-medication?
It's not as such as medical self-medication, because they have already told you what the doctor would have told you even if, when you visited the doctor.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly. I'm saying that if I'm doing piggery and I see my pigs are, there's something fun about it, can I go and get the book which I'm supposed to read letter by letter, and I find that I'll be able to know what the problem of the pig is.
Okay.
Yes.
So that means you can even fail to get that very book because the writer is not even there.
Yes.
The book is actually not even in the book.
People have not been encouraged to read, to write, because people have not read. That's
Now, who is to encourage now me to read? Is it you, the author? Is it who is to encourage this person to read?
It is just the society to be enlightened. And as I've said, I happen to be an economist, but if you left all the goings of the society through demands of supply and the demand of, or rather, if you left the economy to the dictations of demand and supply, you don't have an airport. Because in actual fact, an airport is not a very profitable venture where forces of demand and supply are going to encourage people to whatever. Likewise, reading. People have not been enlightened. People have not been taught. People have not been shown the value of reading.
Okay.
That's why, among other things, I want to say that we have come up with a project called Cultivating and Nurturing the Reading Culture, which we hope that it will take the reading culture to another level. Give value to a reader, because we want to encourage people to go out and read, and even pay people for reading.
Actually, that's why that's what I asked and said, what's the importance of reading if I read and then it stops there? Minus the knowledge maybe I've acquired, what else? One would tell you, I know what I know is enough for me. Do I need to go back and read?
When I was going to my secondary school, there was this saying that when you go to St. Law's College, that's where I happened to have done my O-level. It's like hitting hitting two birds with one stone. Because when you read in the first place, you become enlightened. Secondly, we are going to encourage people to read to be enlightened in this project of cultivating and nurturing reading culture. But in order again to motivate people to read, we're going to pay people to read. How? In the West, there is this common undertaking where people are paid for sampling the
now,
project.
is that motivating me or you're bribing me?
No, it's not.
Because if you say, you read this book, then we'll give you this in return. That means you're bribing me.
I wanted to say of this common practice in developed countries. People, when they bring out a new product, even old products,
Yeah.
they encourage people to go out and test them for free. Get it?
True.
Actually, they go not only testing for free, they pay even people to test products. Likewise, we have designed this program. We're going to try to have it on several TVs in the country. We're going to also have it on several radio stations.
To motivate people to read?
To motivate people to read, and by encouraging them through reading so they can be paid for reading. Today we are saying that we're going to read Professor Kanye. They can say next week we're going to look at, say, the next 4 books. One of them may be Professor Kanyehamba's The Blessings and Joy of Being Who You Are. Go read it. Then when we come, we shall say, we shall read just the extract you read. Among the 4 books, where has this come from?
Okay.
People call in.
Getting back to our reading culture and then
yes.
the writing as well. I wanted to briefly talk about the social writing and the public writing. Is it maybe the reading that has killed the official writing? Because why I'm bringing this is, at times you find people writing like the public documents, and you find the writings like maybe instead of because, you'll find cause.
Yes.
You find before as in be, then for.
Yes.
So is it in any way connected to the reading as well?
No, that one I think it's not. Those are some of the things that we have adapted to, those shortcuts, in trying to hurry up in doing time. You know, we're living in the age of quick fixes. you're writing before, especially the young. I remember I was sharing with one of the leaders of this UBC. Sharing, it is very unfortunate a person, a graduate, finishing writing an application letter. He can't know where to put a full stop. Doesn't know where to start a paragraph, and even uses those quick fixes words.
But as been in the university and reading, so
we were not taught to be holistically. You are taught just to understand, and to be taught to holistic, you need your own effort.
So if I read the book now after the university, how will it help me now to write the best, actually I would call it the best application?
And now, for instance, me, before even I wrote this book, even I didn't know when you are putting a quotation, you're writing and putting a quotation, I used to put a full stop after the quotation. It is through reading and trying to write that I've come to learn that when you are writing and you're quoting, the full stop goes inside the quotation, not outside. Such things, nobody will teach them at the university.
Sure.
Yes.
As we actually are almost concluding our program, so I want us to see how this reading reel can contribute to the social economic development of the country.
First of all, I've said that this massive unemployment that we have, and this ongoing saying that youth go out and create your own jobs. One way of encouraging the youth to create their own jobs, encourage people to write, especially in institutions of learning. Let them write a book that is going to give me A to Z of doing poetry, as I said, of doing piggery, of doing whatever activity. And people put time to go and write, and people will go out and buy books.
Okay.
That's why I started saying that I'm encouraged to learn that Mandela happened to have been one of the people who have acquired so much, he left behind, and the richest contributor was from sale of those books.
Okay.
That's why I would have loved that New Vision on covering this Professor Kanyamba when he launched this book, said that Professor Kanyamba can as well even go home and stay, not going to go to work after such in old age. Wow. After all, he knows that the bookshop at the end of the month is going to bring him a check bill.
Wow.
But now the man instead is saying,
so
yes.
What can one read?
What can one read?
Yeah, because you might find, actually I was talking to one who said,
yes,
at times when I go home, I go through my child's homework. Am I not reading? So now, what can one read? What material is there for one to read?
I would encourage for you to start running. There are some things, hobbies. For instance, if you are a fan of football, go and read about football. When I was in university, I attempted to be a wrestler. Did wrestling. I shared it in this book, wrestling. But unfortunately, I got a problem with my knee and I stopped there. But I had a trainer who had trained two world champions. One was from Mongolia, another one was from Korea. My trainer was Babyetsiza. I shared him in this book. Now, I didn't leave it to wrestling, only to the trainer. I tell you, I went and bought a book on sambo. I was doing wrestling, what we call the sambo. There are three types of wrestling. There are four kinds of wrestling. There is called sambo, there is grask, there is judo. Yes. So I was doing sambo. I went and bought a book called about sambo. Okay. And my trainer was very much encouraged.
So it depends in your area
yes,
interest?
where you feel like of the area of interest. Go and look for books and read.
And read that.
Because that's where you are vacation, to your job, you are advancing.
Okay.
Yes.
Minus one's interest may be reading that very book. If I'm just maybe getting introduced to the field of reading. So how can you read? How can I get motivated? The word you can tell that very person who should actually just start.
Now let him, that person or her or she or him, let him visit bookstores and browse through a number of books. There are different categories of books. There's what we call fiction books, there is non-fiction. Even in fiction books, there is portrait, there is whatever. If we go into non-fiction books, for instance, this book is a non-fiction book which is an autobiography. There are biographers. There are people who are writing about space. Get it? A physical item. Now, let a person first think, when you go into a library, if you go into Aristotle, if you go into your Uganda bookshop, you go through, you look at a different kind of books. Look through and you'll get an interest. What should I read? And that's when you're going to rate it to your hobbies.
Reading.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I was encouraged by this Olympics going on about a Russian young girl of 15 who has become a medalist at 15. If you go out and you find, she has read.
All the tricks.
Yes,
maybe.
yes.
Okay.
I've been there, trained from there. I know what it is.
Wow.
People have read.
That's interesting.
Yes, that's why I started saying that if you go out and you sit and you are in the metal in those underground trains, people are not seated like this, hoping, rather waiting to move from Wayogere to Natete. Moreover, it will take 15 minutes. People are reading.
So you have to provide you with yourself at least something,
Yes.
a book.
Yes, a
start
book.
from
Yes,
there.
yes.
Then you'll find yourself
Yes,
somewhere.
I would want to see that everybody out there is holding a book.
Wow. Thank you, Julius. As we go, I want you to leave our viewer with some word regarding the reading.
Yes, a person who has not read is like a very good plant which is growing in the old homestead which has been abandoned.
Wow.
If you go into an old homestead and you find a pumpkin growing on those whatever, you know, old homestead which has been abandoned, it is rich, it is very rich, but you see a struggling. That is we Uganda. That's who we are. That's why I said. That's why I cited the scripture saying that the eyes we have are just not looking anywhere. They are in the dark. We're in that very good pumpkin growing in the old homestead is your university where you studied, your educational background where you studied.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if you don't read, you'll be like a pumpkin growing in old homestead. Much as it is very fertile and whatever, but you see how it is struggling under the weeds.
Wow. Thank you so much, Julius, for having time and come and share with us on reading, how to nurture our reading and writing culture.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, viewer out there, and please, you need to identify your area of interest and start now. Don't wait for tomorrow, don't wait for maybe next week, but try to make your schedule and let reading also be part. And if you start now, that means you will be out of darkness. Don't be in darkness, just be in light. By motivating yourself, just read one book, and you also pause on other than say, at least I've read like 5 or 2 or 1 book. Thank you so much for being part of Education Forum. Until next week, same time, my name is Maureen Natkunda, and on behalf of the entire production crew of Education Forum program, we wish you the best of the week ahead. Stay.
Oyo ekisate kimala sake tuli bamuwanguzi